Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Zach Slobin, and I'm coming to you live from La Jolla, California. I hope you're doing well. The information that you're about to discover is the same information that my wife and I took a look at about 7.5 years ago. And like many people, we found ourselves in an environment where we knew it was time to do something different because we took a look around at our results and we were just ready for a new reality. For me, I was on the entrepreneurial side of things. I've been an entrepreneur for years and years and years. And I was really just tired of kind of the whole sink or swim mentality that comes with being an entrepreneur. At the time, I had just closed down an online branding and marketing business. I was tired of kind of the feast or famine nature of always wondering where my next contract was going to come from. My wife, on the other hand, like so many people, found herself with a successful career in corporate America, but she was really limited in her ability to break through the proverbial glass ceiling because of her age and because of the fact that she's a woman. And all the meanwhile, she had started to build her part-time online business, which we're going to talk about this evening. And quickly she recognized that it was by far the best way for her to replace that corporate salary that she'd been accustomed to earning. But more than anything, we saw it as a way for us to spend all of our time together. Now, like I said, that was 7.5 years ago, and it's lent itself to over 60,000 people that we've had the honor and privilege of working with in that time period. Now, that being said, what's happened in our lives essentially is irrelevant. What really matters is, why are you here? Now, I have no idea what that reason is, but what I do want you to understand is that this is a legitimate business venture. And so what that means is that first and foremost, no matter what you hear me say tonight, nothing is guaranteed. Your results are going to come down to a number of factors, including things like how much time are you willing to put in, how committed are you, your activity level, your current level of social influence, the degree to which you're willing to create and develop and build your social influence, how coachable are you? Are you willing to build in a consistent long-term manner following sound business principles? In addition to that, please understand that when it comes to the products you'll be distributing and or using for personal consumption, that we're a food and supplement company only. We don't claim to treat, diagnose, or cure any illnesses or diseases whatsoever. We are going to talk about, though, what I believe is the most intelligent, logical, rational business that you could be positioned within, not just because of where the economy is today, but because of where the economy was already going to be come tomorrow. So, as I mentioned, I've been an entrepreneur for years and years. And one of the biggest reasons I was inspired to become an entrepreneur is because I saw that there was a major differential that existed between two types of people, essentially. There were the people on the left-hand side of the quadrant who make up about 95% of the population. And these people only control about 5% of the wealth. Now, why is that? Well, these are consumer-minded people taught by other consumer-minded people how money works. And what do consumer-minded people teach other consumer-minded people? They say, look, in order to make money, you have to have a job and you have to trade time for money. You make linear income. You're trading time for money. Now, even if you're self-employed, you might think, I don't have a job, but of course you do, because ultimately, if you don't show up, you don't get paid. So if you're a hairstylist, a massage therapist, a personal trainer, like my mom, a psychotherapist, any environment in which you are responsible for all things and everybody, you do not have a business, you have a job as being self-employed. And again, you're trading time for money. On the other side of the fence, though, you have only 5% of the population that make up 95% of the wealth. Now, that is a startling, drastic difference. And before you get caught up in any kind of story that says, well, all the people on that side of the quadrant must have inherited their money, believe it or not, only 1 to 3% of the wealthy here in North America inherited their money or won it through the lottery. So how is it then that these people got to the right-hand side of the quadrant where their dominance is so significant? Well, it comes down to a couple of factors. First and foremost, we think differently. We think differently. One of the ways in which we think is we think, how can I get money working for me? So what business owners do is they go to work on developing systems and create a way in which they have leverage by having people that work for them. Then what we do is we take our money and we invest it so that it makes us more money. That's passive income. So on the right-hand side of the quadrant, you have people that understand financial literacy, the type of stuff that we're not taught in school, really about the ways in which money works. But the other way to get to the right-hand side of the quadrant is paying very close attention to what are the people on the left-hand side of the quadrant doing? Where are they spending their money? What are the things that they desire? And what are some of the problems inherent inside of some of those growing consumer trends? Well, tonight we're going to focus on two massive trends, two trends that were already booming previous to this year's overall experience. The first trend is the wellness space. Now, this is already a $4.25 trillion industry. However, for the first time in history, more people than ever are waking up to the reality of how important it is that they take better care of their overall bodies, that they're more anticipatory with the types of foods that they eat so they can be more well prepared when it comes to being proactive, when it comes to things like supporting their immune system, taking care of their stress levels so that they are better protected from any kind of unforeseen circumstances. So people are asking themselves questions like, hey, maybe it is time for me to start paying better attention to what I put in my body. The challenge, however, is that the consumer space is wildly overwhelming. These are consumers who have gotten a lot of bad information, who have been crushed by a diet culture, especially here in North America, that's limited their ability to live long, sustainable, healthy lifestyles. So we're going to talk about how we're disrupting that space tonight. Now, the other thing that is happening, though, is that people are looking for ways to work from anywhere. They're looking for remote work opportunities, the ability to have a business that no longer requires you to go into an office is not something that is a luxury. It is something that has become a necessity. And so I want you to imagine an environment in which you have the ability to create an online business in the wellness space. So a high demand industry in wellness, while having the benefit of being able to do it anywhere that you desire, as long as you have a Wi-Fi signal. That being said, I want you to imagine that you're really excited about doing that. So you say, great, I'm going to get into the wellness space. I'm going to start an online business doing so. Here are a couple of the things that you're going to absolutely require. The first thing you're going to need to break into the space, to disrupt the space, is you're going to need a phenomenal product. Not a mediocre product or not an average product. You're going to need a phenomenal product. Now, in today's environment, what does a phenomenal product include? First and foremost, you're going to need ingredients that meet or exceed organic qualifications and certifications. You're going to need to have responsible and ethical sourcing so that your consumers know that you're doing the best job that you can to leave as small of a footprint as possible on the planet. You're also going to need products that are scientifically backed so that people know they can count on them to actually be effective. Now, in order to even begin formulating this product, you're going to have to raise a significant amount of capital to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars. That money also is going to need to go towards things like patenting and trademarking any formulations you come up with, paying for a sales team, building a mobile-friendly distribution online e-commerce platform. Of course, you're going to want to get into international markets, which by itself costs a buttload of money. And the list just goes on and on and on in terms of all the variables that go into starting your own business. Now, on the other hand, you could position yourself with a company and a business model that's already scaled and already allows you to eradicate all the things you saw on your previous screen, and all you have to do is plug in. And once you plug in, you'll have access to a global reach. And here's one of the greatest things you'll have access to. You'll have built-in mentorship. Now, why is mentorship so incredibly important in business? Because ultimately, if you think like successful people think, if you read what successful people read, if you sell like successful people sell, if you market like successful people market, if you eat like successful people eat, what do you think is going to happen for you? That's right, you're going to become successful. Outside of network marketing, though, if you want mentorship, there's a decent chance that you're going to have to pay to play, meaning you might have to give up some equity in your company, or you're going to have to pay for some sort of business coaching or social media marketing coaching or life coaching or something along those lines from people who maybe haven't gone to where it is that you want to go. But in network marketing, you get put into a system where you're going to have access to people like my wife and I, who have been fortunate to create extraordinary results in this industry to the tune of millions of dollars, who have a vested interest in the success of your company as you start to grow it. So what that allows you to do is it allows you to earn money while you're learning how to become a business owner and move over from the left side of the quadrant to the right side of the quadrant. But arguably the thing that separates network marketing, aside from so many other things that are out there, especially in today's world, is your ability to earn real residual income because of true leverage. Now, what does leverage look like? So I want you to imagine again that you decide you want to do this on your own. At a minimum, be prepared as a lone wolf, no matter what you're doing by yourself, to work 12 hours a day, 365 days a year. Now, what that means is that you are capped at 4,380 hours of productivity per year. That's it. That's the most amount you can produce, provided you're working 12 hours a day. Now, let's be honest, though. For those of you that have been solopreneurs before or been lone wolves before, feel free to type in the chat box if you would like. I know for me, when I was a lone wolf, 12 hours? Yeah, right. That was an easy day. Usually 18, 19 hours, not including time on the road and things of that nature. Then I wised up. I took a look at a true leveraged business model inside of network marketing. Here's what that can look like for you. I want you to imagine an environment in which you develop a consumer network, so a customer network of approximately 2,000 people who are using our world-class wellness products through Isagenix. Now, how do you acquire those customers? Like I said before, we're going to teach you. So we're going to plug you into a system that's already been proven to help people just like you how to earn either an extra $500 to $1,000 a month if you want to do this as a side hustle, or people that look to make a substantial part-time income or eventually hit a financial home run. And how are we going to do that? Well, our system is going to teach you how to do things like how to use social media in a non-spammy, classy way to attract people, how to develop leaders within your organization so you can create more leverage, how to actually sell in a holistic and helpful way so you're not just slamming people into some deal, how to have real, professional, authentic conversations, and how to grow your story. Now, the training that you'll get access to, if I wanted to charge for it, we would be charging tens of thousands of dollars for that training. People on here can type in the chat box and they'll let you know what that would look like. But when you come into this business, you get access to myself and people like me for free. Now, here's your organization of 2,000 people. 80% of them are going to be customers only. 20% are going to potentially raise their hand and say, hey, I'd love to at least do this as a side hustle. So what we're going to ask all 400, including you, to do is work your business just 1 hour a day. Obviously, that's an exaggeration. Obviously, it's just an example, but I want you to see the power of just 1 hour a day. At 1 hour a day, 400 people, you're now getting paid on a portion of 400 hours of productivity, or 146,000 hours of productivity a year. Let's go back to the left-hand side of the screen where you'd be a lone wolf. It would take you, working 12 hours a day, 365 days a year, it would take you 33 and a third years to get paid on that same level of productivity. That's true leverage. Now, the other thing that really separates network marketing is that we create a level playing field. What does that mean? It means that network marketing, especially here at Isagenix, we don't care about your socioeconomic background. We don't care about your race. We don't care about your sexual orientation. We don't care if you didn't graduate high school like my wife, or if you have your PhD like my friend, Dr. Eric. We don't care about any of those things. What do we care about? We care about you having a burning desire to change your position in life, and you like the idea of getting to earn an income strictly by the means of making an impact in people's lives, physically and or financially. Now, I want to reiterate what I said at the beginning. The people whose stories I'm about to share are people who have put in the time, they've put in the work, they've been coachable, they've plugged into proven systems, and therefore they are creating extraordinary results. Mary Catherine on your screen, the quintessential lone wolf. For 10 years, Mary Catherine did everything from being a personal trainer to a health coach to being a movement specialist. And for years and years, even though she had little bits of success here and there, she constantly found herself exhausted, and she found herself constantly and consistently investing into her own personal and business growth to the tune of $100,000. And at the end of it, she didn't have a lot to show for it. And she was really unfulfilled and really exasperated by the whole experience, which is what most lone wolves end up feeling. She finally decided to partner with my wife and I at the beginning of this year. And in just 8 months, Mary Catherine is now having more fun than she's ever had. And she's already in a place of complete financial sovereignty. Remember how I talked about the ability to build a global business? In the middle of your screen is a gentleman named Tony. Now, Tony builds this business alongside of his wife in South Korea. They are two of our prominent partners in South Korea, and they consistently earn 4 figures a month. 4 figures a month. Now, Mackenzie and her husband, Casey, for those of you that are sitting there saying, well, I live in the middle of nowhere, I promise you don't live nearly as close to the middle of nowhere as these two. They live in the middle of nowhere, Texas. Why? Because Casey, as you can see that big hat, Casey's a cattle rancher. They live on something like 15 bazillion acres. I don't know, they have 1 million cows. But Mackenzie was at the time when she found Isagenix, she was commuting an hour each way as a pharmaceutical sales rep. And she got introduced to Isagenix by one of our other partners, Sydney. Mackenzie is just 25 years young. She wanted to be able to stay home with their newborn baby, Wyatt. Just last week, or excuse me, 2 weeks ago, Mackenzie got an extraordinary result, earned $2,400. So I want you just to imagine for a moment, how would it feel, especially as we go into the holidays, how would it feel to bring an extra $2,400 into in a single week, let alone in a month, into your household? Let's talk even bigger picture. Allie on your screen is a former nurse in the medical device sales arena. But like so many people in corporate America, she was burnt out and exhausted. She knew that eventually her and her husband, Josh, were going to want to start a family. She got introduced to Isagenix and started building her online business in the pockets of her day. And to this day, now that she does this full time, she still earns a very healthy 6-figure income, but she does it all around when her beautiful little baby is napping. So make no mistake, it does take work. But again, because we teach you how to create systems, we teach you how to leverage systems, we teach you how to be an effective business partner. Hopefully someone in your life has taught you that you need to learn how to work smarter and not harder. And that's something that we are experts in doing. That's one of the things that JJ on your screen noticed about network marketing. Now, JJ is a former NFL football player, but JJ recognized that he was always one bad season or one injury away from losing his contract and any sponsorship deals. He saw the leverage in network marketing. He got to work with Isagenix, and now he earns a multiple 6-figure income with Isagenix. Michael on your screen from Belgium. This is truly an international experience. Michael on your screen from Belgium. Michael owns a gym in Belgium. He's owned it for 20 years. Michael's at the top of the food chain in his industry. He also trains competitive bodybuilders and fitness competitors. But Michael worked at his gym 16 to 17 hours a day. And even though he made good money doing his business, he felt really limited in his ability to travel or do any of the other things he's passionate about. When he took one look at the ingredients on the Isagenix products, he knew that our products paired with our online business systems, our training, and the leverage business model was his ticket. Now, what Michael has done is extremely unique, but in just 2.5 years, he now makes more money with his online business through Isagenix than he does at the top of his career in the fitness industry. Now, I'm just going to stay with Michael one more second. This year, due to unforeseen circumstances, Michael's gym, his brick and mortar, his bread and butter, was forced to close for several months. That meant no paying clients. That also meant no income from that business. But because he'd been building his online business with Isagenix, not for a second was he concerned about it. Not for a second was he concerned about it. Now, all their stories are great, but ultimately none of them matter to you because they're not your story, and that's okay. So I just want to ask you a couple questions. As you hear these stories and you start to kind of create a new vision for what's possible in your life, what if you could maybe just pay off that one credit card that drives you crazy a little bit faster? What if you didn't feel completely suffocated by your student loan debt? What if you could actually contribute to the communities, religions, and charities that you care about in a meaningful way without it taking away from your family's bottom line? What if you had enough money coming in every single month so that not only could you pay your bills, but you could also pursue your passions? Or what if you could put yourself in a position to do whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want, with whomever you want? Well, in order to bring a big vision, a new vision to your life, the intelligent thing to do is to align yourself with people who have enacted a vision in their life. Now, Jim, Kathy, and their son, Eric Coover, are remarkable human beings. Jim and Kathy have decades of experience in the network marketing space. Jim on the corporate side and Kathy in the field. Now, why is that important? It's important so that you understand that these are people who every single day understand what it's like for you as an independent business owner to build a business in this space. And so constantly and consistently for the last 18 years, they've made decisions that put the people of this company above the profit of this company. And they've raised their son, Eric, with that same level of integrity and enthusiasm and passion to want to bring people a healthy, joyful, and abundant life. And so you can feel good knowing that Eric will be involved and around steering the ship of this company for decades and decades to come. So the same way that Jim and Kathy have created a legacy for their son, you have the ability to leave a legacy for the people you love as well. So, as I've mentioned several times, we've been in business for 18 years now, when we're still really just getting started. And that's a pretty startling comment to make, considering we've done almost $8 billion in sales as we expand into 26 international markets. Now, what's really, really so important for you to understand is that we wouldn't be able to have the success that we have if it wasn't for having a viable market and a viable product system that actually disrupts the market. See, we are innovators in functional food technology. Simply put, Isagenix helps to disrupt a food system that is broken. We help you to replace food that doesn't function with functional food. It's that simple. Why is our food system broken? What do you mean? Because of modernization of farming practices, and you can do your own research on this, our food supply has become nutritionally bankrupt. I don't care if you eat whole organic foods every single day like my wife and I do. The reality is you are not getting the nutrient value from whole foods that your body requires. That doesn't mean we don't believe in whole foods. I just want you to understand that our bodies aren't getting what they need. Now, don't take my word for it. Feel free to go do your own research, but understand that our food supply is nutritionally bankrupt. What's the other thing we're being exposed to? Processed foods, chemical foods, or foods with all kinds of garbage in them, artificial sweeteners, flavors, colors, you name it. Now, there is everything that you see on your screen are all the check markers of what you would need on your own as a lone wolf to try and break into the space. Remember, I keep using the word disrupt. How are we disrupting the market? Well, for example, we use something called Vitamer technology. Now, the person that brought you here tonight can explain to you what that means and put you in front of some extra information. But essentially, nothing on the market really exists like what you have access to when it comes to the distribution and quality of these products and the scientific testing that we have backing our products. Now, there's a 12-minute video that goes over the entire system and how some of the products work in greater detail. There are also multiple clinical studies that you're welcome to review. I'm going to keep this very, very high level. We use adaptogenic herbs to help our bodies cope with stress, and then we cleanse using intermittent fasting. Now, intermittent fasting is a buzzword. It's really exciting, but we've been doing it for 18 years. And we have demonstrated the ability to do things with our intermittent fasting cleansing days that were previously thought to be impossible. And what do we eat? We eat those whole blend shakes. Now, these are perfectly macro balanced, nutrient dense superfood smoothies. And whether you have customers that subscribe to a plant-based philosophy or they prefer whey like I do, which would be grass-fed, you have options for anybody that subscribes to any type of food philosophy, knowing that you're going to be providing them with the best possible nutrients in their bodies. Now, the other thing I want you to consider is how good do you feel about the way in which you make money right now? And I don't mean from like an ethical perspective. I mean, like, does it fill you up? See, Tony Robbins says success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And so I want you to imagine waking up in the morning to text messages with photos like these, with your customer saying things like, thank you so much. I feel better at 35 than I did at 25. Thank you so much. I actually feel confident with my shirt off again. Thank you so much. I can't believe I was able to knock off the baby weight. In fact, just between you and I, one of the reasons I was nervous about having another baby was because I was concerned about getting the weight off. Thank you so much. I'm not scared to look in a mirror anymore because of what this nutrition, this is not a skincare testimonial, what the nutrition has done for my body from the inside out. But go back and put your business owner hat on. What does it mean when people are eating functional food that's helping them to feel better, move better, live better than they've ever experienced before in their lives? From a consumer behavior perspective, what does that mean for you as a business owner who's moving to the right side? It means repeat orders. And repeat orders means residual income. See, in most environments, you have to go out and acquire customers and acquire customers and acquire customers. You only get paid one time. But in the network marketing business model, especially with our compensation plan, which I'm going to show you here in a second, you get paid every single time your customers reorder. So imagine an environment in which you get paid every single time your customer shops at their online wellness store, where they're buying their multivitamin, where they're buying their meal replacement shakes, where they're buying their organic green powder, right? Where they're buying all these different products for themselves. Now, there are a variety of ways in which to get started with Isagenix. Pay no attention to the number on the screen. The person who invited you here today can help you understand the best way for you to get started. But like I said, after your first month, you have access to your own online wellness store. We have products like premium CBD oil, those organic greens, which I talked about, grass-fed, grass-finished bone broth, healthy energy drinks without all the garbage in them. And again, I want you to think like a business owner. What does that online wellness store mean? It means functional food, online grocery, delivered to people's doorsteps. And just think about what's been happening in the world. Think about the ability to get people food delivered to their doorstep, thinking about the idea of helping people not have to go to the grocery store while getting nutrients into their body that they literally cannot get anywhere else. So I'm going to share my screen, turn off this ring light. Whoa, wrong button. All right. Now, there's a 14-minute video that goes over this in greater detail. Don't feel like you need to learn all of this right now. The person that invited you here can put you in front of it. Before I show you this, what I want you to remember is that when you get partnered into this company, the day you say yes, here's what you get access to. All the supply chain is taken care of for you. All the product formulation is taken care of for you. All the manufacturing is taken care of for you. All the shipping is taken care of for you. Business reporting, which would otherwise just by itself cost you tens of thousands of dollars, taken care of for you. Access to free mentorship and training systems, which also would cost you tens of thousands of dollars, taken care of for you. A community of people who are going to support you and stand by you, all built into this. Over 400 global employees taken care of for you. All the red tape to make sure that all the health codes are met for your products to be able to be distributed in international markets. All taken care of for you, okay? So for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to use the value pack here in the United States. Now, I highly recommend getting started on the value pack if you can, but don't trip if you can't. I just want to show you as an example. So here's what I want you to think about. Consumer-minded people only look at what something might cost them. Successful people think, how can I take my money and turn it into more money? Financial literacy, think about that. Consumer-minded people, that's why they only control 5% of the wealth. They think, oh man, once I spend that, that money's gone. Successful people think, how can I take whatever money I have and turn it into more money? I'm going to show you how to turn this into more money right now. So I want you to imagine here's you, okay? And in Isagenix, we just have two teams, a left team and a right team. And I want you to imagine that you invite your friend Brian to get started, and he gets that value pack. You're going to earn a one-time bonus of $100. Same thing for your friend Pat, another $100. Anytime we help more than one customer get started in a single week, these bonuses double. So you're actually going to earn $200 for helping Brian and $200 for helping Pat for a grand total of $400. When you do this in your first 30 days of getting started, you earn another $100 bonus for a grand total of $500. Check this out. Remember what I said. All the benefits you get for starting the business, right? And it's not just if you get started on this system. However you get started, you get all those benefits. But here's what you just did. You got started for $5.99. You helped two customers get started. You've already earned $500. Your net effective cost just became $99. Now watch what's going to happen to that $99 for net effective cost. Brian and Pat might be part of the 20% that raise their hand and say, hey, I'd love to make that 500 too, potentially. So we're going to help Brian help two customers. We're going to help Pat help two customers. Every time we do that up to a point, we earn another $100 bonus or another $200 for a grand total of $700. When you do this in your first 60 days of getting started, help two associates, each help two customers get started using the value pack example. It's another $250 for a $950 bonus. We just turned your $600 into $350 on top. See that? We turned $600 into $350 on top. Now you can be a lone wolf, but the average startup, if it ever even makes it there, takes 2 to 3 years before it gets into profitability. Repeat this mechanism, help 8 more people find just 2 more customers using the value pack example, you're fast tracking to over $5,000. Now, like I said, there's a video that talks more about everything else that's involved in all of this in terms of compensation. But here's what I want you to understand that's really important. This is a lot of upfront money that's available to you while you build your long-term residual income, which I'm going to show you in a moment. But what I want you to stop, pause, and breathe into and just consider for a moment is we're about 60 days away from the end of the year. The holidays are coming up. How much money would just make the world of difference to you and your family right now? How much additional income, just an upfront money, would just mean the world to you between now and the holidays? Now, the other reason these upfront bonuses are so important, these customer acquisition bonuses are so important, is here's the reality about business. 85% of small businesses will fail in their first 5 years. 85%. Why? They could have the most beautiful brands in the world. Their Instagram pages could be stunning with the perfect filters and color patterns and all that stuff. And there's an 85% chance they're still going to go out of business. Why? Because they don't have enough positive cash flow to service the monthly ongoing overhead and debt that it costs them to run their business. That could be due to inventory. That could be due to Facebook ads that they need to pay for. That could be due to supply chain issues. You name it. They don't have enough positive cash flow to support their monthly overhead. But in network marketing, your overhead is simply you eating your own products. So while you're eating your products and your customers are coming in and getting started and they're eating their products, every time a customer orders products and you build this team and you acquire all these customers, you get paid. Now, what's unique about the Isagenix compensation plan is we have no levels in our compensation plan. So what that means is it doesn't matter if you enrolled Pat. Let's say you enrolled Pat and Pat enrolled Susie and Susie enrolled MC and MC enrolls Julie and Julie enrolls Brandy and Brandy enrolls Allie and Allie enrolls Eden and Eden enrolls Michael in Belgium. And Michael just goes crazy enrolling all these people. Well, you didn't sponsor any of these customers, but it doesn't matter because all this volume flows up to you infinitely. Now, here's what that really means. What that really means is that you have the ability to benefit from financially from any single person that goes into the tree after you go into the tree. I want you to hear me again. You have the ability to benefit financially from any single person that goes into the tree after you go into the tree. But I want you to imagine that MC invited you here tonight. And you say to MC, I want to think about it. But MC also invited Pam, and Pam said yes. And Brian says yes. And Michelle says yes. And Joe says yes. And Tony says yes. And they're all getting started and plugging in, and they're helping to acquire customers. And then you say to MC, okay, I'm ready to go. So MC puts you down here. Nothing wrong with being down here. Just to be very, very clear. This is a very moral form of compensation. What do you mean a moral form of compensation? Well, it's the complete antithesis of what you're accustomed to. What do you mean, guy with big ears? Here's what I mean. Okay, if MC is the CEO of a company and she expects you to work 120 hours a week, but she only works 30 hours a week as the CEO of the company, are you going to ever make more than her as the CEO? No. And as a lone wolf, since you're capped on your productivity, are you ever going to be able to out-earn the number of hours that you have in a day? Of course not. But in network marketing, because of leverage, if you outwork the people above you, guess what happens? You out-earn us. That is moral compensation. It's remarkable. But in this scenario, you would have missed out on all these people. Now, I make no guarantees whatsoever, but what if you had said yes up here? Well, I make no guarantees, but in 7.5 years, I've seen it time and time again. I've seen people who've had the foresight and the vision to say yes, and 24 hours later, somebody had come into their organization that had meant the difference of tens of thousands of people that were now in the tree after them. And that has meant tens of thousands of dollars either profited or lost out on by the people who decided to wait. We're going to wrap up now, and I just want you to consider something before we do. Consumers, the people who only control 5% of the wealth, consumers look at the getting started numbers and they worry about the cost of getting started. Successful people, they look at the business model, they look at the explanation of what I just showed, and they worry about the opportunity cost of not getting started. At this point in the conversation, you're either a 3, a 2, or a 1. If you're a number 3, it means that for whatever reason, you've decided that building an online business in the wellness space right now just isn't for you. And that's totally cool. But you do know that getting on these products just makes sense because you might want to take care of your overall well-being. Just get back with the person who invited you here today. They'll help get you started on a system. And remember, what you're doing is you're locking a spot in the tree so that when those lights do turn on and you do decide that you want to start building, you have equity in the tree. Your number 2 means you have a couple of questions. Other than that, you'll be ready to get started. Or your number 1, you see it, you get it. You understand exactly where the economy is. You understand exactly where the economy is going. You also, more than anything, understand that if you don't take control of your financial future, then somebody else will. So again, my name is Zach Slobin. I want to thank you all for joining us this evening. We'll be back here on Sunday afternoon at 11 a.m. Pacific. Please get back with the person who invited you. Have a great evening, everybody. And of course, more importantly than anything, go Dodgers. This is the year. Good night, everybody.